If you haven't entered our Nintendo Switch giveaway yet, do so by clicking the link in the description below. Also, if we reach 85,000 subscribers by the launch on March 3rd, we'll give away this 10-inch Link statue from First Four Figures. Remember, Europeans, you don't get this sweet-looking thing until May, so enter to win. With the most anticipated launch in Zelda history, it is time today, 31 years since it all began, to once and for all determine why Breath of the Wild is like no other RPG and will change gaming forever. But what makes this game so truly unique? The answer? A whole lot more than you could possibly imagine as we go deep inside Breath of the Wild. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild marks for a departure from the traditional and to some accords, aging formula with an entirely new portrayal and approach to the Zelda series. The world is vaster, the enemies more deadly, and all provinces beam with life. For the first time in its 31-year-long history, The Legend of Zelda returns without any limitations to its completely non-linear roots in a world where you will look forward to get lost. Many speculations, including the first 2 episodes of this series, have tried to give an estimate of the actual size of Hyrule in this installment. The numbers may differ, but what is certain is that this world easily rivals those of other open-world giants, such as the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The game was undoubtedly built for the Wii U, and it shows through some of the textures, and also why we ended up with this beautiful, anime-inspired impressionistic art style, which really shines in this open-world setting, particularly on the Switch, without all that fog to cover the lacking draw distance. Oh, poor Wii U. Another minor controversy, or convention break, surrounds the lack of a bombastic soundtrack in the overworld. Instead, the music direction has, in addition to an impressive orchestral score, set a priority to emphasize on natural and more ambient tones, which is fitting in this post-apocalyptic setting. No doubt, the ruined land of Hyrule is massive, and the substantial help from the open-world experts at Monolith Soft, known for their Xenoblade Chronicles games, have been an important asset in the development and creation of this varied, spectacular open-air experience, where both of the land and air ooze with life of different kinds as the NPCs and enemies finally feel like real individuals and not generic robotic entities. The world, despite a ruined Hylian capital and lost kingdom, is filled to the brim with settlements of different kinds, ranging from a possible Sheikah village, a Hylian coastline town, a fortified Gerudo town deep in the desert, and likely cities or domains for the Zoras and Gorons. Hyrule might be in ruins, but life goes on for the descendants of the survivors with a large variety of widespread stables and traveling merchants at your service. For the first time in the series, we have Hylians, Gorons, Zoras, Gerudo, Koroks, Ritos, and Sheikahs in the same game, meaning that literally all the main races are present and taking central roles in what likely will form the best plot in the series, even if it's the story of the past which is being told in a linear fashion. If that wasn't enough, this time the characters will get a whole new layer as their jokes, grieves, or sorrows will be fully narrated in multiple languages, conveying emotions and characteristic traits that are impossible to convey within the good old text box. Even if they can nail the pacing as to how the story is told, then we are talking about the best ever material. The evolution and depth of the franchise is visible in every corner of Hyrule, but one of the things that pleases us the most might surprise us. Since Breath of the Wild's producer, Mr. Eiji Aonuma, will not halt at any challenge in order to deliver his personal magnum opus, it shows when you learn that one of the programmers was set to do one specific task, namely implementing a realistic and intelligent variety of wildlife, which shockingly for a Zelda game is huntable. Being spread throughout the different provinces, the variety of the animals in Hyrule will blow you away. For instance, the Great Plateau alone is full of deer, ducks, birds of different kinds, boars, fish, and toads. However, what will truly impress every player next week is the wildlife found in the particular areas. Bears and snow leopards at Snow Peak, buffaloes in the grassy fields and hills, sea life, and probably an exotic display in the jungle. The world is brimming with natural life and filled with some delicious birds to eat. Which brings us over to the key element of Breath of the Wild's magic, namely the gameplay. But first, a few words about the controls. The controls in Breath of the Wild are some of the best, not only for a Zelda game, but any game, period. The return to a traditional control scheme after experiments in Skyward Sword and partially Twilight Princess is more than welcome, as both of the directional and camera controls are spot on. Z-targeting is a given, but the execution of this element and how they so seamlessly blend together within Link's many different animations and reactions is what stands out. This is a Zelda game for everyone, both of the hardcore and casuals, as you have an entire opening area to learn your basic controls, get properly equipped and dressed, and then move on to explore Hyrule. All of this accompanied with some of the most responsive and accurate controls anywhere, period. And this goes in particular for Nintendo Switch's super comfortable Pro Controller. Seriously, get that controller. You'll fall in love instantly. But what would a Zelda game be without a characteristic item progression and spending the first 30 minutes learning how to use a slingshot and/or a wooden sword? Pardon me, wrong games. Since the gameplay in Breath of the Wild can be described with one single word. Total and complete on top of it. To put it lightly, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild would only be a regular modern RPG if Link was bound to the grassy fields of Hyrule. Instead, you can literally do anything you want in this world, partially after leaving the Shrine of Resurrection, and then the rest after departing from the plateau. We will just sum up a few of them in this video beginning from the Awakening. After a mandatory 5 minutes of opening cutscenes and information from a female voice, who's totally not Zelda, you obtain your key item of the game, can, if you choose to, obtain a pair of clothes, and then go. Pick an axe, yes please, get a rusted claymore or a sword, a pot lid for a shield, and then shield surf on that thing, smash some bokoblins with your sword, or take them out by using the expertly crafted stealth mechanics, including with what I like to call fucking rocks! Find a solid soldier bow, fire up a giant pan and cook up some specialties from Hylian cuisine, and even climb up any natural surface toward the nearest mountain. All of this is possible within the first few minutes, if you are careful with your stamina meter and avoid breaking your newly acquired weaponry. It is this natural logic that adds to this game's realism unseen in other games and make you realize one thing we never thought we would say. A notion which is only extended upon when you depart the Great Plateau. Get a horse, so you can actually explore this land, just to be no-scoped by an aggressive mobile guardian at Hyrule Field. The world is ruthless, and you will have to adapt in order to survive. Find and register horses to traverse further into the land, find new armor, shields, and heart pieces to strengthen your defenses, sell your loot or unnecessary items to strengthen your arsenal and monetary funds, join the battle of the multiple races to free Hyrule from evil and restore its former glory in this partially high-tech environment. All of these mechanics will force us, the player, to rethink our gameplay decisions over and over as conflicts and challenges can be solved from many different angles, marking for a unique and different experience every time we play. Not only that, but climbing is another important part of Breath of the Wild's greatness. Sure, it's not the most new mechanic in games, but it's rare in other open world titles that you're able to climb any flat surface. Even in Assassin's Creed, you can only climb when there are ledges to be grabbed. Climbing is a small addition, but it only adds to the freedom of the game. No more having to walk around a steep hill, you can just climb over it. That is, if your stamina meter is up to snuff.
In other words, Breath of the Wild changes everything through its wide variety of gameplay styles and weapon classes, which can be obtained from the very beginning. The same goes for the different attack styles, as apart from traditional combat, dodging enemies at the right time will trigger new inclusions such as arrow time and flurry rush attacks. And these will be necessary as the enemy AI and the many mini-bosses are no joke this time around. Show up ill-prepared to a battle and you will certainly be crushed. Luckily, in some instances you might as well burn some grass to create an updraft wind current and well, just jump off a cliff to sail away to safety. Speaking of sailing, we still haven't seen any gameplay from the sea. Like, can it be crossed? And will there be a sailing mechanic apart from this raft in the game? That way we'll be able to run, ride, slide, fly, climb and sail across Hyrule. It will be the perfect combination for what might be a perfect game.
As previously mentioned, Hyrule is massive, and with more races than ever before, the game will offer a variety of areas and interactive NPCs and enemies like no other game. But will the different regions offer different gameplay styles? Probably, as the game heavily emphasizes on the 4 elements of earth, wind, water, and fire. These, in addition to physics puzzles, will be key in navigating and solving the many massive environmental and non-environmental puzzles that will be thrown at us in the constantly changing weather and landscapes of the great outdoors, and the 100+ shrines and eventually dungeons of the game. All in all, the struggle to locate Zelda and claim the Master Sword will likely be longer and much more non-linear than we are used to in the franchise, but also other open-world games. With that being said, we believe that there is no exaggeration that this game will offer us 1,000+ distractions and challenges teasing us at every corner from beginning to the very end, and then in the many multiple playthroughs that will follow, each of them different from the other as we all know lightning doesn't strike the same spot twice, and real horses don't run into trees very often. To put it rather lightly, we believe that Eiji Aonuma and his team of directors and programmers have done it with Breath of the Wild. They have surpassed the greatness of Skyrim, the brilliance of The Witcher 3, all past Zeldas and other games that can be considered the best of all time. And to think that the key to it was something as simple as giving complete freedom back to the player to explore and learn by trial and error. This and the improvement of so many elements from our own world, the greatest hits from past Zeldas and third-party classics, is an unprecedented move that will not only change Zelda, but hopefully Zelda for the better for the next 31 years of gaming perfection. Whether you're going to be playing it on the Nintendo Switch or the Wii U, one thing is for certain, you're going to be having the time of your life. And as you prepare to explore, fight, climb, shred, slide, sail, swim, eat, defy the laws of nature, and ride in Hyrule, please make sure to like, share, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe to enter our Nintendo Switch giveaway and not miss any episodes of Season 2 of Inside the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which will be coming soon after launch in the first 2 weeks of March, with new and improved formula and assets by Artsy Omni and animations which are worthy of this masterpiece. Until then, we will update you nearly daily on all things Breath of the Wild, Nintendo Switch, Inside Super Mario Odyssey, which is coming this Thursday, and naturally, the complete Legend of Zelda timeline after the launch of Breath of the Wild. Thank you so much for watching.